There's a YouTuber named Jefferson Fisher, and I came across the guy a while back on TikTok, and he's by trade he's a lawyer, and so he does these little TikTok things, whatever you call a TikTok, not a meme, but he does these things in his car on his way to work, right? And he'll give you a little thing about communication, and that's what the meme is all about, is how to communicate in different situations. And I really liked the guy. I really liked what he had to say. And so I sent the TikTok thing, whatever, over to AJ, and AJ got excited about it. And so then AJ kind of took it up, and he's been following this guy Jefferson for quite a while. Anyway, the guy put a book out recently, and so AJ bought the book, and then we were talking yesterday, and he told me about it. So I bought the book, and I was listening to it yesterday and got so inspired by what he was talking about that I was gonna share something entirely different today, but I thought we'd talk about communication and how important communication is, and what's godly communication, and what we should think about as far as godly communication. What does godly communication look like? And so anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, Communication, I think, is one of our biggest challenges. We intend to say things one way, and we don't quite say it the way we wanted to. And a lot of times we look at things in retrospect and we say, gee, I wish I had said things differently back then. The Bible says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So communication actually is kind of secondary, and we recognize that. But I think there's some good skills that we can build in our communication, certainly. One of the things that Jefferson speaks about is knowing what good communication looks like. If you're around a person who is a good communicator, you tend to follow the lead. You pick up from their example. So I was thinking about the different types of communication. I was raised in a military household. Um, and military communication is very precise. I was thinking about when I was on my ship when I was in the Navy, and we had a very specific and functional communication. Um, I don't know how many of you know what the phonetic alphabet is, but we didn't say A, B, C, D. We said Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. We had the whole phonetic alphabet. We spoke in very precise terms. And the reason being is because lives were at stake. If you gave the coordinates for a bombing mission and you relayed them improperly, you could have a serious, friendly fire accident. So, so in that context, communication is certainly very specific, very functional, but you certainly wouldn't want to talk to your wife in those kind of terms. It's a different context. One of the things that we, engineers need to constantly remember is that human beings are not computers. Um, Human beings are very asymmetrical. And what that means is simply there's a lot of moving parts. We certainly have reason, and when we talk to each other, we want to solicit good thinking, right? But the purpose of communication is to not only convey thought, but also to convey emotion, right? Because as individuals, we are made up of a lot of different things. We have reason, we have emotion, we have our convictions and our values and our purposes. You know, somebody could say something to me in one way and it not have much of an impact, but said to another person could have a profound impact, right? When we talk about people, we ask a question: what is it that makes that person tick? Right? So my point being is that we are not symmetrical. We're very asymmetrical. A lot of how we respond, how we see things has a lot to do with how we were raised, you know, both for good and for bad. Some people are very open, right? You talk to them, they're very open. You know, the person is a what you see is what you get kind of person. Other people are very closed, and it takes, you know, it's a lengthy endeavor to get them to open up to understand who they are. And you can't say that one is better than the other. I mean, it is what it is. Some people are wounded and sad. You know, we go through different seasons in our lives, and this has got to be taken into account when we communicate. You know, some people are easy to understand, and some people don't understand themselves. It's life, right? Well, one thing I think we can all agree on is that the majority of our social interaction is fairly shallow. It's fairly shallow. I thought about Jesus and when he was talking to the Pharisees, and you don't have to turn there, but Luke 5:22, it says, when Jesus perceived their thoughts, he answered them, why do you question in your hearts? So Jesus was on a completely different level than most of us. And so that's what I want to talk about today. What we're going to do today is we're going to listen to a chapter from this book, and then afterwards we're going to talk about it. Okay? How's that sound to everybody? I think you're going to really like this book. So let me go ahead and get set up here. It'll take me just a second. Um, Gary, can you go ahead and mute everybody? And give me a thumbs up if everything sounds good. Okay.